Hey guys, it's Chris from AndroidPIT.com, and today we're looking at Android 5.0 Lollipop side by side with Android 4.4.4 KitKat, just to take a look at some of the major changes that you'll be seeing soon on your device. So you'll notice the first big difference the first time you turn your Lollipop phone on. Of course, the new setup procedure is much more colorful. You've got this awesome new feature called Tap and Go, which lets you basically put your old phone and your new phone together and transfer everything over straight to your new phone. Now, if we have a look at the lock screen, of course, this is one of the biggest playgrounds for Android 5.0 Lollipop. And you can see that there's a little bit more happening. You've got, of course, your lock screen notifications where you can respond or just respond straight from the lock screen or dismiss them. You've also got access to your quick settings straight from the lock screen. And you can also see that you've got your profile switcher, so you can switch between yourself or guest modes. You can also access the settings as well. Now you'll see down the bottom we've got a few shortcuts. We've got one to the camera and one to the dialer. You'll notice that on KitKat we used to have a shortcut to Google Now, which we don't have on Lollipop anymore. Okay, so you can see when we unlock, everything slides up. Of course, you can slide down to expand or compress your notifications. But once we're on the home screen, you'll see, of course, we've got some new icons, we've got new wallpaper and that kind of thing. But otherwise, it's all looking pretty like stock Android. One of the big differences, though, of course, is the navigation buttons. So you'll probably seen these around a little bit by now, but let's take a quick look at the recent apps. So on the KitKat device, of course, we've just got the fairly simple scrolling tab of little square app previews. If we go into the Lollipop version, then we've got our scrolling stack, kind of like a Rolodex. Now, one of the other things you'll notice, of course, on Lollipop is the difference in animations and transitions. Like if we open the app drawer, you'll notice that on Lollipop, we've got our app drawer is now sitting on Google Now like cards. Everything is side by side, whereas on KitKat, everything sort of popped out and it was all a little bit more merged. Now things are a little bit more distinct. You'll also notice if you launch some apps that things now slide up from the bottom on Lollipop, whereas previously on KitKat, they would animate more from the side and fade in and out. So let's take a look at the notification shade on both Nexus 5. So you can see, of course, on the Nexus 5 with Lollipop, we've got the same lock screen, basically the lock screen notification screen that we have when the phone is locked. Everything that you get in your notification shade when your phone is unlocked, you'll also be able to see on your lock screen. Of course, you can set how much detail is previewed on the lock screen, but same deal as before, a double swipe down or just a single swipe when you're in the notification shade will bring up your quick settings. And again, you've got the same access as you had on the lock screen with profile switching and a shortcut to the settings, along with a battery meter, which is kind of nice. On KitKat, it's a little bit different. You've just got your basic notifications. And of course, this is the first time that you've seen them because you don't have access to them on the lock screen. And if you want to switch over to your quick settings, you've got the button in the corner, or you can do a double swipe down from the home screen. Now, if we take a look at the settings, everything in the new Android has basically got everything the old Android had, although it's got a bunch of new stuff. So we've got all the obvious stuff for connections up the top, but let's jump straight into display. You'll see now the brightness level is just a brightness slider, and adaptive brightness or auto brightness is now a separate option with a little bit of an explanation in case you didn't really know what it meant. Same goes for device rotation. It's now got a little bit of a better explanation. Let's jump into sound and notifications as well. You'll see here we've got our sliders for individual volumes, but we've also got a section for interruptions. So you can basically set priority interruptions, what you want to be interrupted by and when, which is kind of awesome if you've got alarms, meetings, or other important notifications that you need to get no matter what you're up to. If we head down the bottom here as well, you'll also see that we have what I just mentioned before, the details of how much information you will get in your notifications on the lock screen. Okay, so cruising down a little bit further, let's jump into battery. We've got a slightly different battery meter here, but what we're really interested in Lollipop is up here in the overflow menu, which is the battery saver. So battery saver is fantastic. It's gonna get you some significantly longer battery life no matter what Android phone you have when you get the Lollipop update. And in our experience so far on the Nexus 9 and on our Nexus 5s, it's been pretty fantastic. So keep an eye out for that one. Let's head down to apps. Now, nothing much changed here, but you'll see if you swipe to the running tab, we now have a little bit of a summary up the top of RAM usage and device memory, which is kind of nice as well. It's not a huge difference, but it's there and it's useful. We've also got an entirely new section for users. As I said before, you can switch easily between profiles on your Nexus 5 running a Lollipop or any other Android device, of course, but now we have a users section so you can easily manage your guest profiles and other users of your phone. Let's head into security. There's a little bit of new stuff in here as well. If we scroll all the way down the bottom, you'll see we've got a section for screen pinning. Now, screen pinning is basically, it's a sharing option. It basically lets you pin an app to the screen and you can't get out of it unless you know the button combination to get out of it. So you can loan your phone to a child who wants to play a game or to a friend who wants to see something, say maybe in an email, and you don't want them jumping straight to your gallery and swiping like crazy. But one of the other things I wanted to mention here is our smart lock. If you've enabled a screen lock, say a pattern or a pin, then once that's enabled, you can set a smart lock, which includes my favorite, trusted devices or personal unlocking. So you can actually have your phone unlock automatically whenever your smartwatch or some other trusted device is in the area. So let's have a quick look at some of the apps just to give you an idea of how things have changed. Let's take a look at the dialer app. Obviously there's a few changes here that we've also previewed previously on the site. So you can have a look here with the swiping options and the new dialer as well. Compared to KitKat, it's a minimal change, but we kind of like it. It's a little bit more functional and combines a few features together. And let's have a look at the calculator too. So you've probably seen this around by now as well. Again, showing the adaptable palettes in the status bar up the top. And obviously it's just a general overhaul of material design themed apps all throughout the new Android. So that's about it in the major differences, guys. Let us know in the comments below what you want to see in the next video, what you're expecting from Android 5.0 Lollipop, and when you think you'll get it. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, and until next time, ciao.